Three, two. On today's show, 13 going on 30, Dave Watson. 13 games in the NBA last night. We're going to attempt to break them all down in the next 30 minutes or so. Nick Angstadt, Locked On Mavs. Dave Watson, Locked On Bulls. Joel Embiid dropped 50. Jokic almost did the same with a triple-double. Luka drops 40. And we'll play on today's Locked On NBA. Let's go.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are locked on to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Joining me, as always, on a great Thursday. Thirsty Thursday, right before the weekend. Big Dave Watson, Locked On Bulls. What you got for me, Dave?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling right. It's a lot of games. I know 13 is an unlucky number, but it's going to be lucky tonight, baby.
It works for it worked for Jennifer Gardner. It's gonna work for us, right?
You gonna do the Thriller dance? Is that what you're gonna do? We're gonna get Mark Ruffalo to do the Thriller dance? That's what's gonna happen. All right.
Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every single day. Remember, Locked On NBA is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can watch us right now. Have some fun, because we love to have some fun on a Thursday. We got a bunch of games to break down for you, and man, there was a bunch of games and a lot of crazy stuff happened. Stick with us. We'll break down all 13 games, everything that happened, or as much as we can tell you in 30 minutes.
We got it, baby. We got it.
First up, the weirdest game I think of the night.
Okay.
Or at least the weirdest ending. Brooklyn Nets beat the Washington Wizards 119 to 118. Now you listening, you did not think I was going to start with Nets Wizards. Absolutely, you did not think this. But the Nets get the win without Kevin Durant. The Nets never trailed in this game after the first minute. They went down 3-2, and then they never trailed again. But the Wizards started to make a big comeback in the fourth quarter. Beal had 8 points and 3 assists. Kuz had 7 points. Montrezl Harrell and Dinwiddie had a good little run there. And in the fourth quarter, the Wizards had just come back from a 10-point deficit, and they were down by a couple points here. Dinwiddie throws the ball to Kuzma in the corner, right in front of the Nets bench. And a Nets assistant coach, who we have now identified after sending out the squad,
yes, sir,
deflects the ball and it goes out of bounds. And they called it a turnover on Kuzma, who was in the corner. Dave, how upset would you be if you were the Wizards if this assistant coach deflected a ball in play and then it's like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter? This was a really big play, a really big moment, and it goes out of bounds.
I would be fuming. All right. Now, whatever his fine is going to be, I think he should be taken care of.
You think they're going to fine him?
If he's talking bad about, the referees and things like that, they usually fine those players for doing those kind of things. So I think it's a fine coming for him.
Oh, I thought you meant they were going to fine the assistant coach.
No.
I'm not sure you're going to fine the assistant coach.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. But let me talk about this assistant coach.
I don't think they fined Barton, right, from the Cubs.
No. No. You can't even fine him. He don't even exist on Earth anymore, right? I haven't seen him since. We don't know what he's doing, but I hope he's doing well. Shout out to you, Barton. I hope he's doing well.
Man.
But let me talk about this assistant coach, man. My man, David Vanterpool. I am now fascinated with David Vanterpool, man.
You went on a little deep dive while we were prepping.
Yes, I did. First of all, I found out that he used to play for the Wizards. So maybe he was having a little flashback.
The irony of this that he played for the Wizards and he deflected the ball for the Wizards to help them lose.
He was like, yeah, I'm open. This is my time. He called a quick flashback. They never gave it to me when I was playing in the year 2000. It's my time now. He averaged 5 points and 3 assists. He didn't even hit a three-pointer, so he was around the three-point line.
He played 22 games when he was 27, his only year in the league.
Exactly, only year in the league. But he is a EuroLeague champion. He's won 4 titles in the EuroLeague, won an MVP over there, Defensive Player of the Year, led him in assists. He is the man overseas, man. Shout out to David Vanterpool for doing that. But yeah, dude, that was absolutely crazy. That's the second crazy thing I've seen a Nets coach kind of do, because I'm thinking of Jason Kidd and what he did in Milwaukee. But that's the second thing I've seen, a guy on the Nets.
You have to remind me of that.
It was classic. But this is wild. And then he gets away with it.
And he got away with it.
And he got away with it, man. That's wild, dude.
It was the opposite of the Scooby-Doo villain. I would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for you pesky Kuz and... But late in the game, the Wizards had a chance here. Kuz made a big three that gave him just as like a 1 or 2 point deficit. Harrell had a massive block late in the game, I think against Kyrie or Harden. And then Kuzma missed a 3 for the win, and then Dinwiddie chucked one up that could have been a win for them as well. Brooklyn gets that win. The Wizards are still trying to figure out what to do, but Brooklyn wins without Kevin Durant. That's a massive win for them. They win without Kevin Durant. The Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. This was probably the best game of the night. This one went into overtime. The Nuggets end up getting the win. The Clippers playing without Paul George, Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, and of course still Kawhi Leonard. It was the battle of the bigs in this one. If you're a fan of big man play, if you're a fan of a big man putting it down on the ground, doing a little like hop, step, and a skip, and then like laying it in, this was your game, man. This game was all about you. Jokic, 49 points, 14 boards, 7 offensive boards in that too. 10 assists in this game as well for him. And then on the other side, Zubac, he stepped up in his play too. 32 points. It was a career high for him. 10 boards. He had 6 offensive boards. Was no one getting defensive rebounds in this game, I guess. But yeah, this one came down to final couple seconds in overtime. Jokic was off the ball and he was trying to dive into the paint, and Zubac like got in front of him, and that weird thing where Zubac's arm was tangled up with Jokic, and Jokic did that thing where he's like sort of trying to go for the foul, didn't really try to go around him. They didn't call the foul. Jokic gets the ball, he gets the and one instead and goes up 127 to 125 with about 30 seconds left. We go back down to the other end. Zubac gets a bucket, so he makes up for the non-foul call. Jokic gets trapped on the right wing, and he throws, I mean, a dime. Yes. A dime that would make Jay Cutler in his prime blush to Aaron Gordon in the corner for a 3. And there was 1.7 seconds left. Denver goes up 130 to 127. Reggie Jackson actually got up a good shot in that 1.7 seconds from about midcourt and missed it. But that Jokic pass, man, you just start thinking, how many people could make that pass? Because he's on the opposite end of the half court. Gordon is in the corner, and he hit him exactly where he needed to be to hit that shot. He was the only guy open, too.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to think that he's the center. Like, you know, that just blows my mind when I see that happen. And shout out to Gordon for hitting that, because I had no faith that he was going to hit that 3-point shot. I'm serious.
He shot the ball well this year.
He has. I just know Aaron Gordon. This is just my Aaron Gordon of what I've seen throughout his career. But yeah, shout out to him for hitting that shot. And also, how that guy ran off the bench and didn't get a technical foul on Denver after Gordon hit.
They thought the game was done. They didn't hear it was
over.
They didn't hear the whistle.
He thought it was over and done. But how you don't get a technical foul on that, I have no idea, man. But dude, Jokic, he scored or assisted on 73 of that 130 points that they had. That man is insane, man. But shout out to my guy Zubac, or as I like to call him, Zubac Shakur, because he dropped 32 on him, baby. That's my guy right there. That's my guy. Shout out to him, man. He dropped 32. I always knew he had it.
He said Zubac Shakur.
That's my man.
Jokic, according to StatMuse, most points in a triple-double by a center in NBA history.
Jeez.
Wilt Chamberlain, 53. Wilt Chamberlain again, 51, because that's how every stat in the NBA starts, is 2 Wilt Chamberlains and then other guys. Wilt Chamberlain, 53. Wilt Chamberlain, 51. Kareem, 50 in a triple-double. Jokic, 49 in a triple-double. 4th most points by a center with a triple-double in NBA history. Incredible for him.
Incredible,
that one, the Nuggets take that one. In the West, it's really, really tight now. Yeah. Speaking of the West, the Dallas Mavericks get a win. Man, Luka Doncic had himself a game. Went off for 41 points, and at 41 so like Jokic got 49 in a game where it was overtime. They both scored like 120. This was a slow ass game that the Mavericks and the Raptors played, and Luka still got 41 in this one. 41 points, season high. 14 rebounds, season high. 7 assists. Should have had like 15. But Luka Doncic finally stepping back into who he has to be. And I said this on Locked On Mavs. I'll say it again. He had to play in this game the way that he had played against the Clippers in the playoffs the last couple of years, because the Raptors only played 7 guys in this game. So they played this real tight rotation. Nick Nurse was like, I don't care how tired we're going to get. We're going to play these guys right into the ground and play these 7 guys because I don't trust anybody else. And then they had all these long wings too, where Luka had to make quick decisions. He had to get to his spot. He had to make quick passes. He had to be aggressive. If he was going to go for a shot, he had to do it right away. And so it looked just like he had to play against that Clippers team the last couple of years. So it was almost muscle memory for him. Like, I'm just going to go back to where I was. And yeah, Luka basically carrying this Mavericks team to a big win.
Man, 13 to 24 shooting. He talked about, his shot and how bad it was. There was a reporter that asked him, I believe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, was informing him, you now have the most triple doubles, you know what I'm saying, in Mavericks history combined. If anybody combined, like, how do you feel about that? Yeah. He was like, I got to shoot better. That was the only thing he said. I need to shoot better. And that's what he did when he came out there, man. When he puts it together, I mean, you can argue top 3 in the league when that dude is putting it together, man. Like, he is
go ahead.
Really,
do it.
Truly special to watch. I mean, I don't have to do it. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers that speak for you. And what he just did, man, he is absolutely incredible out there on the floor. And also having a guy like Jason Kidd out there who has done incredible wonders for y'all and y'all defense. It's been amazing what he's done. But I think he'll give him more tools about being, an even better point guard for the Dallas Mavericks, even more better than what he's been.
If you are confused about the Mavericks defense, which many of you are, go listen to my episode from Wednesday on Locked On Mavs. I break down the entire defense, tell you why they've been good and all that. So go check that out. But the Mavericks get a win. Another good defensive win for them as well. Fred VanVleet, 4 of 20 in this game. He absolutely struggled in this game. Siakam, OG Anunoby had pretty decent offensive games, but they were so sloppy. And the Raptors were so sloppy and got gassed in this game to the point where the Raptors almost took this game several times too, so let's just not pretend that the Mavericks dominated them. They almost gave this game away several times, but yeah, Mavs ended up getting the win in the end with a couple big plays from Luka in the fourth quarter. Coming up, let's get into Joel Embiid at a 50-burger. An incredible game from him. And then we also have to talk about your Bulls with DeMar DeRozan. Is Vooch finally coming around? A lot of good stuff. And, of course, got to play coming up on today's Locked On NBA. But before we do, let me tell you about betonline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to put down some money on sports. It's the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. NFL playoffs happening. It's happening right now. Yeah. Cincinnati Bengals, 3.5-point underdog against the Titans. Ooh, that one's interesting. You believer in the Titans, or are you liking my Bengals?
I like the Titans. I do. I like them. I'm rolling with your Bengals, though. I'm rolling with you because you're my guy. I'm rolling with your Bengals.
Chiefs, 1.5-point favorite against the Bills. That one is a fascinating game. Bucks, 3-point favorite against the Rams. If you're feeling confident about any of these games, go to betonline.ag. Use the promo code LOCKEDON. You get a 50% welcome bonus when you deposit some money. So you put down $100. They'll give you 50 more bucks to use on some of these games. So go check it out, betonline.ag. And then use the promo code LOCKEDON. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Big Dave, let's get into the rest of these games in the night. There's a lot we got to fly through here. The Chicago Bulls against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Bulls get the win against the Cavs, who all of a sudden, like the Cavs, you can't talk about them like, oh, this is just a win, right? The Cavs are a definite good team in the NBA, and a win against the Cavs is now seen as a good thing instead of just an expected thing, which I think is pretty interesting. But 117 to 104, the Bulls get the win.
Yeah, coming off a 4-game losing streak, Bulls wanted to get this victory. I didn't expect them to get this victory, but they said, Dave, you're an idiot. We're good. You should roll with us. So I'm like, yes, I should, Chicago Bulls. DeMar DeRozan is just absolutely special. Carried this team to this victory, man. But can't enough said about my man Vucevic, who's been up and down, and Bulls fans been tearing him down, pitchforks and torches from that man Vucevic. But he hit that key 3-pointer at the end, man, to seal this victory, and he had a really solid game.
Every good team, I feel like, has that one guy that's sort of like the polarizing player where, it's the Porzingis, it's the Draymond, it's the guy that you're like, okay, you're good at times, but we need something else for you, or we should trade you, or something else like that. What's been the deal with Vooch this year? And is he like the linchpin to this team and how they're going to succeed in the playoffs or just the rest of this year?
Well, a lot of it is him trying to get acclimated to being the third option. He's not used to doing that. He's used to being that #1 guy and having, a bunch of shooters around him. That's what it was for him in Orlando. So him being a #3 guy, kind of changed that. Also, a lot of his weaknesses are being just magnified because this team built, a wall around him when he showed up here, with Patrick Williams here, with Lonzo Ball, with Alex Caruso. Those were the guys that was going to defend the perimeter and make it a little easy for him. Well, Patrick Williams is gone. Lonzo Ball has knee injury right now. Alex Caruso just finally came back. So it looked like he was struggling and getting done up and things like that. But his scoring is usually how his defense works. So if he's scoring well, that means he's doing well defensively. So he's just got to be a little more consistent. He's been very inconsistent, but he's still 16 and 11 in every game, man. So he's solid. I'm not worried about him. Dude's a 2-time All-Star. He'll figure it out.
Tell me about Ayo Dosunmu. He's a guy that my co-host Isaac Harris from Locked On Mavs was loving him in the draft. He had a good game in this one.
How much time you got, man? Listen, Ayo Dosunmu
2 minutes, maybe.
Awesome. I'll break it down for you. Ayo is absolutely awesome. Not only is he now in the starting lineup because of Lonzo Ball's injury, but he is also being asked to run the point guard position, score, assist, and guard the best player on the other team. And he's doing all of that well as a rookie that was drafted in the second round. He has truly been an awesome part of the Chicago Bulls victories here. I believe he had 18 points and 8 assists in this game right here, man. He was awesome. He had so many key buckets, man, and he plays defense great. Like, Ayo, I can't say enough about him, man. He should definitely be in the running for Rookie of the Year.
Think about this. Backcourt of Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White with Alfonso McKinney starting, and then DeRozan and Vooch.
Why you got to laugh? Why you got to laugh at Alfonso?
Like, that's the number one team in the East right now.
That's right. We play hard. We play tough. And shout out Alex Caruso because he was the linchpin. Like you were talking about linchpin. He was the linchpin. You know, offense, defense. He did it all for the Bulls tonight.
That's a culture change because like last year, this team with that lineup, if it was Levine instead of DeRozan or something like, you know, if it was like the exact same team as last year with a couple of these guys, like they lose games like this, right? They lose a lot. Like they wouldn't be number one in the East. It's crazy what kind of a culture change has just changed everybody across the board on this team.
It's been amazing to watch. Shout out to Arturas Countersovis and to Mark Eversley, man. The things that they've done for this team, it just makes me feel good that we are involved in good basketball. It's been a long time, Chicago Bulls fans. It's been a long time.
The Orlando Magic fall to the Joel Embiid's Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah. Embiid ties a career high with 50 points. A 50 burger for Embiid. I'll just do a little quick one.
Count it up.
50 points. Embiid scored 20 of the Sixers' first 25 points in the game.
Yes, he did.
In the first quarter. He also had a 23-point third quarter. Absolutely incredible game from him. He had 50 points in 27 minutes.
Boom. That's the biggest part for me right there. 50 points in 27 minutes, man.
And he hit 1 3. So it wasn't like he just jacked up a bunch of threes. So like Mo Bamba on the other side of this, he also had a career high. He hit 32 points, but he had 7 of 8 from 3. So he's hitting a bunch of threes, and he only had only 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Embiid only hit 1 3. He was 15 of 17 from the line, but 50 points and 12 boards. If we go to it's that from ESPN Stats and Info, the fewest minutes played in a 50-point 10 rebound game in the shot clock era. So since they added the shot clock, which is like before our parents were born.
Yes. Like, dude, can you just think about how efficient that is? Like, that is absolutely insane. And to get it from your center position is insane, man. That man is really special. And he was 15 to 17 from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
That's just stuff that doesn't happen for 7-footers, man. The man's footwork is just unreal. It's uncanny. He can do it all, man. He's just special to watch. He really is. And Mo Bamba had 28 in the first half.
Yeah, he did.
That's crazy.
Mo Bamba got to do more for this Magic team.
He's Mo Bamba. He's doing the best he can. Like, he's doing the best he can.
Afterwards, Embiid tweeted out, "At the real Mo Bamba, couldn't guard me tonight. # he cooked me too. # 50.
The nicest burn ever.
I know. He didn't go straight after him like he did with like Drummond in the past, but you just wish you would have done a little bit more. You want another stat with Wilt in it?
Oh, do I? Come on.
Stat Muse, another one from them. Most points per minute in an NBA game.
Wow.
What's the first one you think?
Klay Thompson.
No. It's Wilt.
It's Wilt. Duh.
Wilt Chamberlain, 100 points in 48 minutes. That's the most that you can get, I think. Like 100 points in 48. Yeah. Number 2, right behind it, actually. So, like, points per minute, that's 2.08 for Wilt. Klay Thompson, 60 in 29 minutes. That's 2.07. So he's right there. Klay, again, with 52 minutes and 27, or 52 points in 27 minutes. Then Harden, then Kobe with his 81 points.
Right.
George Gervin had a 63-point game. Kobe had another 60-point game. Malone, I think it's Moses or Carl. It's one of the two. It's one of the, it just said Malone. I don't know which one it was. Embiid then afterwards, so he scored 1.85 points per minute. That's dominance right there. That's
definitely Carl, though, by the way.
Was it Carl? Okay. Well,
yeah,
it could have been Moses.
No, Moses is amazing, but it was Carl.
so there you go. Joel Embiid, man. I mean, he's putting up points against this Magic team. This Magic team, they're tanking.
They're going. Yeah. Worry about next year.
They're missing a bunch of guys due to injury still too, and all that. But
that's very true. Yeah. Young team.
The game that'll probably be the lead in most national NBA shows, but we are not most national NBA shows. The Lakers fall to the Indiana Pacers 104 to 111, just days, hours after Frank Vogel, the story of Frank Vogel comes out, that he's like holding on to this job by the fingernails, is what the Kamenetsky brothers said on Locked On Lakers today. He's barely holding on to this job. And so we got our guy, our NBA insider, Antonio Daniels, former player in the NBA, played against Kobe, played against everybody, is now a broadcaster on Sirius XM NBA and also for the Pelicans. And he had his take on Frank Vogel and his job security right now.
I get it. The Lakers aren't dealing with something that someone else isn't, because this league is unforgiving, this virus is unforgiving, and this schedule is unforgiving. But I don't think it's fair to put all of that solely on Frank Vogel. This isn't college. It's not Frank Vogel's job to go out and motivate guys to show up and play hard for 82 games. As an NBA player, you are getting compensated handsomely.
Yeah.
So you have to go out and perform. It's not on the coach to rah-rah and get you ready to perform night in and night out.
Right.
All right, so there you go. It's true. He's a guy that was in the locker rooms. He knows what it was like. It's not on this can't all be on the coach, right? It can't just all be Frank Vogel as the scapegoat, but he didn't get any of the credit because it was just LeBron who took them to the finals and all that. This team had won before. Let's do a little blame pie action. Who are you blaming on? Let's like little preview, count it up. Where are you putting the blame for this Lakers team? Because this is probably the worst loss. Did you? I'm going to keep going. Did you see the Lakers post-game show on Sportsnet LA?
I didn't. No.
They got Robert Horry and they had James Worthy, and they cut back to them, and they had this over the sky cam, like, you know, on one of those lift things, like come in and swoop in and show this shot. Okay. James Worthy's head is on the table, and he's just like keeled over. He's just like keeled over on the table. Just cannot believe what is happening to him. And Robert Horry just has his hands in his face like, I cannot believe this is the team I'm talking about right now. I cannot believe. And they're just both sitting there. And the announcer guy, I forget his name. The host was like, and we're back on Sportsnet LA, the Lakers. And those guys are just like dying because they lost this game. Worst loss of the season for the Lakers. Oh, probably against this Pacers team. We're not giving the Pacers any credit. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's tough, man. Shout out to the Pacers. I like the Pacers because we talked about them last week about teams who are most disappointing. Yeah. This is why I had them as the most disappointing because they could be really, really
they could
good,
win like this.
Yeah, they're a really good team. Karis LeVert, another great game for him and everything. But you asked the question, what do you put the blame on this? I'm going to put it on LeBron. I mean, LeBron is the one who put everything together. If he's going to get all the credit for when they win, I have to give him some of the blame for when they lose, man. And he's been having a great season. He has been doing his thing. I'm not blaming him for Anthony Davis or anything being injured, but he wanted Russell Westbrook here. You know, he passed on Buddy Hield. You know, he didn't want that. Everything that goes into place, you know, has LeBron's fingerprints on it. So if that's the case, I got to give him a portion of that blame too.
LeBron and Russell Westbrook, LeBron minus 20, Russell Westbrook minus 18. So just like, it's just not clicking for them when they're out there. And yeah, this Lakers team, it can't all just be on Frank Vogel. It can't just be on him.
It can't.
But they got to figure some stuff out. There's some drama now with Kurt Rambis coming down from on high and giving suggestions about playing Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan more. Just wait until Mrs. Rambis comes into play, because when Mrs. Rambis comes into play for the Lakers, that's a whole other situation that the Lakers have been through before. Man, yeah, this whole thing with the Lakers is just it was. It's confirmation bias either way. If you thought that this was going to be a disaster from the beginning, you're like, well, it's a disaster. If you thought that they were going to be good, then you're like, well, they'll turn it around eventually. Right, it's just every game seems they beat the Jazz the other night. You're like, okay, well, that's a good win. They're finally getting to be who they're going to be. They lose this Pacers team, like, oh, just like I thought, this is going to be a disaster from the beginning. So yeah, it is what it is with the Lakers right now. And yeah, Frank Vogel will probably be gone by the time you're listening to this.
I agree. It'll be on him.
Who are they going to bring in that's going to change this, right? All this veteran, like this is the oldest team in the NBA. LeBron, Ariza, Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley, Russell Westbrook. All those guys have played. No, Westbrook hasn't played in the finals, has he? Not yet.
Westbrook's played in the finals. Yeah, remember when
he did? Yeah, in 2012. Yeah. All these guys have played in finals. All these guys have been on the big show, right? Like all these. And how are you? What coach are you going to bring in? Like, I mean, Phil Jackson. Honestly, like, you're gonna bring back Red Auerbach with a hologram? Like, who's gonna coach this team?
Not hologram Red. Oh,
we have the technology, Dave.
Oh my gosh. I think David Fizdale. I think they'll just go David Fizdale, to be honest with you, and just put him.
David Fizdale's turning this around. Like, he's got the gravitas to turn this around. He got fired by the Knicks.
I'm not saying he does. I'm saying that's who I think they'll go do. What they gonna do? Go get another coach like in the midseason? No, they'll just get the guy that's sitting on the bench and LeBron says, "I'll go win with you." Come
do the interim guy.
Yeah, you do the guy. Now
what's
and you do it.
Can we get Jason Sudeikis to just do a Ted Lasso like art piece? Like, can he just do the Truman Show for the whole year and go method with the Lakers? Like, that's Ted Lasso is the only guy that can save this Lakers team.
I don't even think that can happen. He's too nice. I don't think it will work with LeBron. He's got too big personality.
Have you seen Ted Lasso?
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
What he did for Jamie Tart, he can do for Russell Westbrook.
I have a girl who keeps calling me Ted Lasso. She says, "You're Ted Lasso." And I think that means he's a nice person. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some other things going on with Ted I need to see and get into with this show.
He'll figure it out. Yeah. Actually, Russell Westbrook is definitely Roy Kent in this scenario, probably.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, there you go. Ted Lasso's the only one that can save the Lakers at this point.
All right. I'll take your word.
Coming up, we got more games to get into. We're going to play our favorite game. We're going to talk about our confidence level in the Bucks to make it back to the finals. We'll talk about Trae Young going off in the third quarter and Towns doing Dirk dirty. We'll talk about all that coming up. All right, Big Dave, we got one more game before we play Count It Up. Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks get the win 134 to 122 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Trae Young didn't score until the 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in the second quarter, but he finished the game with 30 points. He had 23 points in the third quarter. Atlanta went on a 20-2 run out of halftime. Their defensive intensity really picked up, and that's what this team has to do, right? With all these injuries, they got Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, and John Collins. You got to lock up on defense if that's your personnel, right? Because Bogdanovich didn't play this game. Gallinari's been kind of a shell of himself this year. Trae Young's been kind of in and out. So that's what this team has to do. They got it done. But I think the story is on the Timberwolves side.
Oh, man. Before I get like it was weird because in that first half, the Timberwolves were playing solid. Like going into halftime, they were 10 to 21 from the 3-point line. They were shooting 48% from 3. And then Trae Young came out in the third and dropped 23 on them, man. It went insane. It's his 11th 30-10 game this season.
Wow.
His 11th. The dude is special, man. He's a mean guy, for real.
He's good. Karl-Anthony Towns gets called for a flagrant one after he tries to do the Dirk one-legged fade. I got my guy several places here on the shelf showing off the Dirk one-legged fade. Except for he finished him off, right? Like he finished off the play with a Rockets level kick. And just like Draymond Green like dinked his leg up all the way and made contact, and his defender fell down. He got called for a flagrant one. He got all upset about it. After the game, he said, I've never seen it in basketball before. This is Karl-Anthony Towns. I've never seen it in the NBA. All I say is Dirk Nowitzki got put on the floor for that same shot. And that he's referencing the silhouette on the floor of the Mavericks arena. Yeah. I'm not here to give you a Dak Prescott kind of comment, so no comment. And Dak Prescott said some pretty choice words about the referees and the Cowboys game the other night. But Karl-Anthony Towns going after the refs for calling him out for kicking a guy in the junk? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, well, first of all, how about the 2 shout-outs for Dallas references right there? Like, references right there.
Everybody knows what they're getting with this. We're getting the number 3 media market in the NBA and the number 4 media market in the NBA. We're getting Chicago references with Bartman earlier, and we're getting Dallas references with me.
That's impressive, man.
That's what you're getting.
But no, you saw it when I watched it the first time. I was like, no, that looks like the Dirk. Let me watch it again. And then you just see the extension on that leg come out there, and I'm like, that's not the Dirk, that's the jerk. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't the move right there. You don't kick the whole foot out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the jerk move right there. But yeah, and the funny part is it went in and he felt good about the shot.
It was like, heck yeah. He's like, I'm the best shooting big man in NBA history.
That's right, baby.
Dirk's like, that's cute.
I know Dallas will never let that go, by the way. Y'all never let that go ever. All right. And listen, let me not speak too ill on Karl-Anthony Towns because I'm trying to get him here to play for the Chicago Bulls. But Karl-Anthony Towns.
Not tampering on the podcast.
What? I don't know what you mean, man. Locked On Bulls, my big day, Matt Peck, check us out. But yeah, man, I think Karl-Anthony Towns, it's ridiculous. Like, it was a ridiculous move, man. And maybe he will watch it again and come up with a whole different, scenario in his head of what really happened. But you cannot extend the whole foot and put that into another man's special area. What has happened? All right. You just
not the no-no square. You did not just say don't put it in the no-no square.
I've never heard no-no square before. I like that.
Oh, I got friends with kids, and they're always talking about they have this song to teach kids when they're young.
Oh no, I gotta hear it now.
Don't touch me there. That's my no-no square. And they sing it like all over. Oh man,
I need a remix.
All right, let's get into it. Our favorite game every single week.
Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it.
All right, count it up. Detroit and Sacramento. Who thought this game was going to be fun? But it was pretty fun. It was fun for everybody except for Sacramento Kings fans. Because the Sacramento Kings lose the Detroit Pistons 133-131. The Pistons only score 103 points a game, and they scored 133 against the Sacramento Kings. The Kings had a 9-point lead with 2 minutes left. Detroit goes on an 11-0 run. They get the win. Cade Cunningham only plays 20 minutes because he gets it early foul trouble, and then he eventually fouls out in the fourth quarter. Just played 20 minutes, and he was minus 24 in a game that they won. Really weird game. But both these teams in the news because of deals that they offered for Ben Simmons. Here we go.
Count it up.
Which deal would you take if you were the Sixers? Now, Daryl Morey turned down both of these because he's a madman and he's turning down everything. But the Pistons offered Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick. So you got Jeremy Grant, who people are trying to get right now, Sadiq Bey, young wing, Kelly Olynyk, who's been here, there, and everywhere, and then a first-round pick from the Pistons that is probably a good first-round pick, right?
Yeah,
depending on the protections on it. Then for the Kings, Sacramento put together this massive deal, at least, or they considered it. Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, 2 first-round picks. But for Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle, they want the whole thing. Give us the whole Sixers starting 3 of the starting 5.
Count it up.
Which deal would you have taken if you were the Sixers?
I will say when I heard that Kings deal, I said I don't want to believe that they turned that down. That's a lot. I thought about. That's a lot. But then I thought about both deals, and I think I'd take the Detroit one strictly because you have to give up less. They just want Ben Simmons. You get to keep Thybulle, who's incredible on the defensive end. You get to keep Tobias Harris. And you get these guys like Jeremy Grant. You get Kelly Olynyk, and you get that first-round pick, man. That's really important. And Sadiq Bey, who dropped like 30 also tonight, man. So Sadiq Bey is solid. But I would take the Detroit deal.
If I'm Doc Rivers, I'm not ready for Jeremy Grant and Tobias Harris to be doing offensive things every single night. And I'm saying offensive in both the words. In both uses of the word.
Well
that Sacramento deal is fascinating to me because Harrison Barnes, I think, is a solid player that's been to a finals and has been around. He would be a great guy in a locker room. Tyrese Halliburton is probably the best young player in this whole group. Like Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant's not. I don't know if he's considered him young anymore. And you get 2 picks from the Kings.
True.
2 picks from the Kings.
But you got to give up. You got to give up 2 of your guys though.
No, but Tobias Harris though, Tobias is making so much money. He's gonna be. He makes 35 this year. He's making like 37 next year, and then he's gonna make 39 the year after that. Like that's paying Tobias Harris $40 million. They may have to give up stuff to get off of that deal in a little bit. So even though you lose out Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle, with Ben Simmons, but Keith Pompey are newly reminted. He's back on the Locked On Sixers podcast, so he reported that deal that was offered. I would take the Kings deal, I think, just because you're getting off of Tobias too. You get Halliburton and Barnes. Buddy Hield, the shooting. You get Buddy Hield on one side and Seth Curry on the other. That's some 3-point shooting right there.
It is. But now you basically turned your team into the Philadelphia Kings.
Plus Joel Embiid. So it's like the better version of the Kings with DeMarcus Cousins. And then
are you sure you're ready for that, though? That's a lot of Kings players to put on your team at one time. That's a lot. But
it's 2 of their best ones. Harrison Barnes and Halliburton.
That's
you think Halliburton has the King stench on him already? He's been there a year and a half.
I know, man. And I like him a lot. I really do he's an incredible point guard. But that's just a lot of Kings, a lot of Kongs coming in over there to Philly, man. It's just a lot. Shout out to my man Matt George.
How many weeks in a row can we give a Kongs reference?
Oh,
the
man.
Milwaukee Bucks 100. We got too many games to be going this long. These Milwaukee Bucks get a win 126-114 against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Bucks had lost 6 of their last 8 coming into this game, so they were going down in a tailspin. Drew Holiday didn't start, but he came back from injury in this one. And Milwaukee gets the win. They are now 17-3 this season when Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday all play. So,
Count it up.
give me your confidence meter 1 to 10 that the Bucks team will return to the finals.
Oh.
I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling like a 9 on this team because when those guys all play together, and you're thinking by the time we get to the playoffs that they'll be all together, 17-3 is. I mean, that's a great record with those guys.
That is. I'm going to say 7. And the main reason I'm saying 7 is because I don't want to take out the chances of my Chicago Bulls.
I was just gonna say that's a bias. That's a biased number. We put a little asterisk next to that 7. Like a little ascot right on the side of the 7. Take it there.
Right there. Just right there on the side. But yeah, man, they're an incredible team. All right. I'm not lost sight of that. What'd you say that record is now all play together? 17-3?
17-3 when those 3 guys play.
That's insane. Okay. Like this team.
That means they're 11-16 when they're missing at least one of them.
Exactly, man. So that means we got to take somebody out for a late night trip when next time they come to Chicago or something like that.
Not the bounties. He's not talking about putting a bounty on one of these.
Take them to get something to eat on a late night trip where they won't wake up in the morning because they'll be so full. And
Ray Lewis and Bart Scott would be proud of you.
Wow! Wow!
The top of the East, all of a sudden, the Bulls are at the top, still tied with the Heat. In at least in the percentages there. The Nets are a half game back. The Bucks are 2 games back now, and the Sixers are 2.5 games, and the Cavs are 2.5 games. It is bunched up. That's the top 6 in the East, and they are all within 2.5 games of each other. It is bunched up there. Speaking of getting bunched up, the Utah Jazz lose to the Houston Rockets. No Donovan Mitchell for the Jazz, but they still fall to the Rockets. Go watch David Locke's Locked On Now. It's quite sad. It was quite sad. Shout out to the head honcho, but man, he was not having a good time. It was his 1,000th regular season broadcast for the Utah Jazz on the broadcast, but they get the loss. Couple of stats from David Locke. The Jazz have now lost as many games to under 500 teams as they did all of last season. Remember, the Jazz were really good last year. It's their 7th time this year losing when they were leading at the half. That's twice as many as last year. They're just not taking care of business anymore.
Count it up.
What's the chance of a first-round exit for the Utah Jazz? Let's just go through some of these teams. And
Count it up.
Suns, first-round exit for the Jazz? Yeah. If they face the Suns, that's a first-round exit. Warriors, yes, that's an obvious one. Grizzlies, how the script has flipped from last year.
Yes, it has. My team. I love the Grizzlies, man. Yeah.
Is that that's a first round exit for the Jazz if they play the Grizzlies?
The Jazz, if they play the Grizzlies, yes. They out of there. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
100% they're out.
100% they're going, man. You're not beating. Listen, man. You just see them what they did with Milwaukee, and they ain't even had a full lineup out there. And they barely lost that game. Like, no, they're incredible. They're mean, dog. That is a serious basketball team right there. They're not going out in the first round at all. They're going to a second round, man. They will beat the Jazz. Yes, they will beat the Jazz. Put it down. I said it.
My Dallas Mavericks. That one we've been waiting for 2 years. The Utah Jazz.
That's true.
Luka is not worried about any of those guys.
Yeah, I'll take Dallas in that one because I think you are hungry and your defense is obviously way, way better. So
also, Jason Kidd versus Quinn Snyder is the two most aesthetically different coaches as far as like look and talk and feel and all that.
Dude, Quinn Snyder always just looks like a dude who's
crazy
just always
eyes.
Looking for something. Like, hey man, you got it? You got it? Do you got it? Like,
doesn't he look like he would open the side of his trench coat and have a bunch of watches there?
Come on, man. He's all top of the line, baby. Top of the line. Hey, Quinn.
Efficiency.
We're in public, Quinn.
We're getting fired for sure for this episode. Denver Nuggets, Utah Jazz exit.
Oh, yes. I don't think they'll be Denver. Jokic is too special. He's too special.
The Boston Celtics lose to the Charlotte Hornets 111-102. Charlotte gets a couple of big games from LaMelo had a triple-double, 15, 10, and 10. Rozier had 28 and 10 assists.
Count it up.
Will the Hornets win a play-in game? They're the 7th seed right now, so they're all of a sudden they would be playing the Raptors in the play-in game. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on the Hornets getting a win against the Raptors in the play-in game? Confidence meter.
Oh, confidence meter is at a 2. If I'm going by
Not
5.
confident at all.
I'm not confident at all that they will beat the Raptors. The Raptors are a problem, man. All right, they are an absolute issue. You saw tonight, like you said, they played bad and they only lost by 4.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even tough, man. When they played the Bulls, that was a tough game they had to pull out at the end. That's a team that's so well coached and their execution is so excellent on both ends of the floor, and that length that they have is an issue too, man. Like and the experience that they have from winning a championship will also come into play when they're playing a very young team like Charlotte, man. I don't think Charlotte beats them.
Yeah, they wouldn't beat the Raptors. The Celtics or the Wizards, I would feel better about them beating than the Raptors. It's just the way the Raptors are made. Like if Siakam and Fred VanVleet are hitting, like I would think that the Bulls could get beat in the first round by the Raptors if those guys are hitting.
It won't happen, but we can move on.
I'm just saying. I had to take you down a peg after the Grizzlies thing.
Well, you don't have to take me down a peg with a lie. You take me down with the truth, baby. You know what I mean? Like, no, we beating them.
The Miami Heat get a win 104 against Portland. No Dame Lillard still for them. Anthony Simons goes off pretty well for the Blazers, but Jimmy Butler is the story in this one. Gets ejected with 2 minutes and 28 seconds left in the second quarter. Gets 2 technicals back to back from 2 different refs for the same scream. He screams at a ref after not getting a foul call, and he's walking after him, yelling at him. He earned that one. And then he tries to walk away, and the other ref calls a tech on him. And I don't know if the refs didn't. It was one of those umpire things where the ref, I don't know if the ref realized that the other ref called a tech on him, but then he called the tech on him, so he couldn't go back on his word because he didn't want to look silly. And so then he didn't rescind it, and then he got ejected. He only played 15 minutes in this one.
Count it up.
Who will lead the Heat in techs? This is from teamrankings.com this year so far, and we've missed a lot of Bam and Butler games. Lowry's at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Dedmon is at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Butler is at 5 now with the 2. And Hero has 3. Who leads the Heat in technicals this year?
I'm going to say Dwayne Dedmon. He's everything about him. When I see him, everything about him says, I want to technically foul you, period. That is about my life. I am here for that. I'm going to say your last name is Dedmon. He's about that life, all right? He's going to foul you, and he's going to foul you hard. I'm going with him.
Lowry's got a good head start, but I'm going with Butler. I'm going with Butler.
That's a huge comeback there. All right.
Well, he's only 2 down now after the 2 he got, and he can get them real quick. He got 2 in like 10 seconds. So
that's true.
I'm going with Butler on that one. The Heat all of a sudden are now tied for the #1 record in the East right now.
Tough.
All right, last one. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, how many NBA shows are doing this game? How many NBA shows are talking about this game? The Spurs get a nice win, 118-96 against this really young Thunder team. That's actually pretty fun. But let's play a game. Who he play for? Mom Diakite. Who's he play for?
Did you say words? Is that what that's
Mom?
a phrase?
Mom and Diakite. I know Diakite is how you say his last name. I don't know how to say his first.
Okay. Mom and Di.
Who he play for?
I'm going to say OKC.
Correct. Correct on that one. All right. Who he play for? Joe Wieskamp.
Joe Wieskamp? That sounds like a Spur. It sounds like a Spur. Yes.
Correct. Yes. Correct. He plays for the Spurs. Who he play for? Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
OKC.
He starts for them. He's like their starting. He's like their starting center. All right. Who he play for? Jock Landale.
Oh. OKC.
No,
it's the Spurs.
He's a Spur. We talked about him last week because remember he had that inbounds pass that got stolen.
You're right, he did. Oh, Jock.
Jock Landale sounds like a guy that's like so the Thunder drafted Josh Giddey and they needed a friend to like hang out with him, so they just grabbed Jock Landale to come and like hang out with him.
Hey, JL, come on over here.
All right, who he play for? Trey Jones.
Trey Jones, the guard? What am I thinking of? The Spurs.
Yeah. Who he play for? Trey Mann. I hoped you were gonna get those confused.
You have such an evil laughter when you say it too. Like,
I was hoping you get Trey Mann and Trey Jones confused. Trey Mann plays for the Thunder. There you go. Guys, that's Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and joining us. at the end of this here. We have, man, we have the most fun on Thursdays. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow with the guys Adam Mares and Wes Goldberg. Thanks so much for listening to us, guys. Go check out Locked On Bets for your second listen. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA. Boom.